needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is SOUQ Business Landscape.
A very good morning to you and welcome to SOUQ Business Landscape, your window into the forces shaping the markets, industries, and economic policies across Nigeria and beyond. From aviation fuel regulations to solid minerals reforms, from digital financial inclusion to agricultural revival, every story we tell connects the dots between policy, enterprise, and development. In today's edition, we explore the dynamics behind Nigeria's aviation fuel safety, efforts to protect telecom consumers, financial reforms are driving investor confidence, solid minerals that are reshaping our reserves, and the ongoing quest for productive agricultural base. We also look at how regulatory shifts in the UK's capital market could influence global investment behavior. Good morning to you once again, and welcome to SOUQ Business Landscape. I'm Oyempriye Kurmale. I have two people here on the desk who will be having this conversation. And I dare say three because we're expecting a third virtually. But ladies first, they said, good morning to you, Swift.
Hi, Priya. Good morning. How was your night?
It was okay, thank you.
Fantastic. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Africa. They said in life, the first step to making it is to start something. So no matter what you're going through, start something. Welcome to SPL, where we discuss and dissect issues that affect you. My name is Swift Aderito. Get ready for us to do this together.
Yeah. Her name is Swift Aderinto. She said you should get ready. And I'm sure you have. Get a cup of coffee or a cup of tea for this conversation. Talking about coffee, there's someone that has that color. Or maybe it's just dark. Good morning to you. The night, Olumide, welcome.
Good morning, Priya. Good morning, Swift.
Good morning.
I am Olumide Shokoya. Don't forget to also drop your comments. Let's keep the conversation going on YouTube.
Great.
Before we start talking about coffee, you just had to talk about coffee. For those of you that don't know, please, if you want to gift Priya, because I have a friend who works in aviation, if you want to gift him, he says it, Walai, just do me coffee. Any type of coffee, because I always drink. So once it doesn't run out, when people give him shoes and shirts, it's like,
really?
Coffee. And honey to top it up.
Oh, great.
I think that's how you will be with time.
Yeah. By the way, honey is good for the voice. And it's a good business venture. Now, let's intimate you further on what we will be interrogating this morning. First, highlights growing concern over the rising number of aviation fuel suppliers in Nigeria, from just 6 accredited marketers to 45. Quite a number. Experts fear that this proliferation may compromise safety and quality standards in Jet A1 fuel supply, and posing risk to flight operations and public safety. Secondly, we focus on a rising wave of failed airtime and data purchases through electronic platforms, leading to daily financial losses for millions of Nigerians. I experienced that yesterday. The Nigerian Communications Commission and the Central Bank of Nigeria are launching a joint regulatory framework to ensure timely refunds and accountability across telecom and banking institutions. Our third story says that Nigeria has been removed from the Financial Action Task Force, FAT. No, it's grey list. It's a global watch list for countries with weak anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism frameworks. The Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, sees this as a major boost for investor confidence and market credibility. Our fourth story will be on solid minerals. The federal government has invested 12.5 billion naira to buy gold directly from artisanal and small-scale miners. Chooks is going to love this story. This initiative aims to strengthen the naira, build Nigeria's gold reserves, and formalize the local mining economy. Our fifth story will be on cryptocurrency. Securities and Exchange Commission wants that Nigerians are increasingly choosing cryptocurrency trading over traditional capital market investment. Despite the high risk, over $50 billion worth of crypto transactions were recorded between the mid-2023 and mid-2024. I think that explains how robust the market is. We'll move on to our penultimate story. It will be on palm oil. Nigeria, once the world's leading palm oil producer, now spends $600 million annually importing palm oil due to outdated farming practices and poor investment in the value chain. And finally, the UK's Financial Conduct Authority plans to stop publishing names of individual short sellers, opting instead for aggregated reports on total short positions against listed companies. These are the stories we will be looking at this morning and today, if we have the luxury of time. And we're about to go on a break, but before then, you know him, Ayanuba Luagbenga Paul. He is standing by and is joining us virtually. Good morning to you, Benga.
Good morning to you, Priya. Thank you for having me on the show.
Great, it's good to see you, and it's good to see you joining us today. It looks like a Monday because you look so sharp, clean, and swift like yourself. And of course, we have Olumide here.
Benga, good morning. I like the tie and suit. It's different.
Thank you so much, Benga. And we'll go on a break, very short. And when we return, the conversation starts right here on SOUQ Business Landscape. Do stay with us.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is SOUQ Business Landscape.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us in the program. Now we hit the ground running. Aviation experts and oil sector players have called on the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority to regulate the growing number of marketers supplying aviation fuel to airlines. They warn that unchecked proliferation is fueling black market activities and increasing risks to flight safety. Previously, the industry operated with just 6 accredited marketers, ensuring tighter oversight and quality assurance. However, the number has now risen to 45, raising concerns about the integrity and safety of Jet A1 fuel being supplied to airlines. The stakeholders stressed that unless the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority enforces stricter regulations and revalidates existing licenses, the sector may be exposed to dangerous consequences. They argue that aviation fuel quality must not be compromised, urging the government to act swiftly to prevent a potential disaster. Lady and gentlemen, if we look at this from different perspective, let's look at it developmentally. A strong aviation oversight system under the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, enhances public trust, strengthens Nigeria's global aviation standing, and ensures sustainable industry growth. It measures essentially and maintains the safety in the industry. If this is true, because when it comes to this sort of stories, one needs to be careful and to balance it, because the more you have, more stakeholders or more participants in supplying aviation fuel, the more the price may crash, most especially if there's competition.
Yes, it's the competition. I think it's the competition that is.
So let's say Dangote, we know he exports aviation fuel to the United States, and I can't say he's exporting the whole aviation fuel that it produces or that it refines to the United States. I'm sure there are other countries that are equally buying, and I'm sure there are local companies too that are getting some from him. So other refineries, if they have the capacity to bring that, to produce that, which I don't really think so, because BUA is still on the way coming. Now, we also refine, and our refining capacity maybe 50 or less than 50 at the moment. So, do we also have aviation fuel? And if earlier on the industry have 6, and now it has increased to 45, so the onus will be, is it this, we're having, on the positive side, it could be that yes, it's going to be competitive and the price is going to go down. On the other side, we need to also watch out. Don't just proliferate the market. Maybe it is institutional weakness in terms of monitoring and regulation, which may have a downside that may lead to the damage of the engines of the airplanes, and is going to defeat insurance, and underwriters may want to run away from the industry, and we don't want that happening. So, in handling this dicey issue, what's your perspective, Olumide?
First of all, NCAA, they are for quality control, because we all know that Jet A1 fuel is highly sensitive, and contamination or poor quality could lead to catastrophic disasters.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go patronize it from the black market, and God help you, it's contaminated, any small engine failure on an aircraft, we know what it would happen. So that's why they are coming out to say this. Now, according to a report, because I had to go back to do a bit of research, we had about 46. Now, out of that 46, 36 had valid license, 5 had non-valid license, and 5 with expired licenses. So that's what we're dealing with. And I remember last week here on SBO, we were still talking about the monopoly of someone selling or marketing Jet A1 fuel, that we do not want that kind of thing. We want a situation whereby, you know, we have a lot of marketers selling this thing so that the prices will drop, because the price of airfares right now, even locally, is outrageous.
Yes, it is.
And the doctor has always said it several times, that when they check the breakdown, it's like 50% is even going to the government, and the rest is probably coming to the airline. So how much is the airline actually making? That aside, what can be done right now? Now, we want a situation whereby fuel, Jet A1 fuel, would be cheaper, so that these airlines can actually make some profit for themselves.
Yeah.
So, and the only way that can be done is if in a deregulated market, whereby every other person is in that market independently marketing it at their own competitive price. But so what I would just say now is the NCAA has to step up. There has to be some of quality control put in place to monitor these things. We cannot lie about it. There's always black market. Even when there's fuel scarcity,
yes,
there's always black market.
Okay.
So how we're going to trace this black market and phase it out, the onus lies on the NCAA and other authorities, the DPR and the rest of them. I think even NUPENG and the rest of them have to also come in at this point. But we need to, then the airlines also, the onus is now on them, because the airlines are the ones buying this thing. Where they get it from, it's now, you cannot regulate who they should buy from. They have that, you know, power or that right to buy from any other person, but buying it from an accredited dealer is what also matters.
Great. Swift, your take.
I was wondering if we could ask Benga, because I was teaching.
All right.
And when we are done, I now come back and
so,
do a final.
Oluwabenga, if you can hear me, about 40% of the cost in running airline comes from aviation fuel. We remember vividly, immediately subsidy was gone, or maybe before, a little bit before that time, the airfares were not these outrageous then. Now that it has gone, we are looking at airfares domestically and externally. It's on the rooftop, and now aviation fuel seems to be the concern of the conversation. So we're just asking, is it now an institutional weakness or lack of effective and efficient monitoring, or is it competitors outdoing each other and some of them are coming to the public to cry?
Well, I don't think the removal of subsidy had anything to do with aviation fuel in the first place, because it's only the PMS that was subsidized back in the day. They regulated diesel, kerosene, and a lot of others before the last subsidy on petrol was removed. So I just believe that most of the aviation companies had other challenges that made the prices uh, skyrocketed. Now, there are two ways to look at these issues. Yes, NCAA needs broader and stronger regulatory framework to tighten the security in terms of monitoring quality of jet fuel that are being supplied. But saying that they should reduce the number, from, the number of suppliers were about six before now, and then recently it has jumped to about 45, and they are saying that is too much. But I believe that rather than complaining that it's too much, it is actually good for competition. It is actually good for um, accessibility of products to people, even though we need to monitor uh, this fuel quality, their sources, to ensure that we prevent disasters waiting to happen. But it is funny that we are talking about jet fuel, whereas did you know that 90% of the car engine problem that we have in Nigeria is as a result of the kind of petrol we put in our vehicle? If you go to most, especially francophone countries, and I think I've seen it in Ghana too, um, when you get to a filling station, you will have about 3 or 4 different pumps, and so and they are all at different prices. I mean, nozzle on one pump, not different pumps. You have about 3 or 4 different nozzles that will tell you needed, unneeded, something percentage of this, some percentage of that, so that it is the fuel standard recommended for your car that you will put in your vehicle. But in Nigeria, there is nothing like that for vehicle. It is the same fuel that a Toyota Camry 1994 uses, that a Range Rover 2025 uses when we get to filling station. And that is why you see that whilst the same vehicle 2025 model used in Europe or in US would still look brand new after 5 years if you check the engine, the one in Nigeria would look as if it has gone through hell and back. And if it can do that to cars, then you know what that means to aviation industry if it is not properly regulated. So the call for regulation is apt, but at the same time, let it not be that the call for regulation is just a means to stifle competition, because it is competition that will make the economic thrive, that will make the industry grow faster.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
Yes, sweet.
so my own challenge with this compliance, as much as it's good so that we meet global standards, my fear is the price of compliance. Because many times in Nigeria, when a regulatory board says, oh, we want to come in, even as small as fire service, when fire service says they want to come and check your office, check your building, if you are doing standard, if your building is standard,
Yes.
if there are fire safety, if you are keeping to the
Fire safety measures that should be put in place in
they
case of...
bill you. And what they bill you alone is scary and challenging.
If you fall short of those protocols.
Once they are coming, there's a bill for them to come. That's the truth. There's a bill for them to come. That's how those services make extra money. Once they are coming, once you move into a new office, it's mandated by the federal government that you invite them to come and check that you have done the right thing. And before they come and check, by the time you go there to get the list, usually you have to say thank you or help me or whatever. But once they are coming, there's actually a bill. For compliance, there's a bill. Before they stamp, it may not be very much, but there's something involved. Now imagine what transpires to aviation. Now, for me, what I see is I see a lot of bigger companies threatened that some new people are coming up in the market who would further, because the more there's competition, the more reduction of prices will come in. For a long time, people have been saying it is hard. Like the aircraft owners have been complaining. I think I was listening to Airpeace interview some time ago, the CEO, and he was complaining that, do you know what it takes for them to be able to procure aviation fuel? That there are sometimes it's very hard. You know, there sometimes it's difficult. They go through a lot of challenges. Now, that is why these black marketers came. And with these black marketers, it has been easier. So the complaint of aviation fare procurement has been reduced. So I just see some bigger players in the industry. That's my take. I just see some people that are raising up dust. Is it important that we keep to these standards and we check out the fuel, we check out what is going in? It is critical. It is important because, like you have all said, if a bus has an accident, there's a possibility of just 1 or 2 people dying. If an aircraft crashes or has a problem mid-air, there's a possibility 300, 200, 150 passengers go at a time. And so that's too much for us to take the risk. But we should also be looking at the fact that are people being threatened? Is it a threat from the big players so as to keep the price of aviation fuel very high? Because aviation fuel is not supposed to be this high.
Okay.
That's where my take is coming from.
All right. And notwithstanding, whilst it is a very, very good thing for other players, for new investors to come into the market, to establish their presence so that we expect the crashing of the price. We do not want to promote the black market. And that's because the black market, is not regulated. And if it is not regulated, it might fall short of the standard that has been set in place by the International Civil Aviation Organization, which has set the laws in place globally. And we now have the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, making sure that those international protocols are applied in our aviation industry so that there will be a uniform standard in the world. In that case, we move on to our next story. And this our next story has to do with money and finance. Failed transactions. Thousands of Nigerians are losing money daily to failed airtime and data purchases that never deliver value. A growing concern now dominating consumer complaints at the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. The commission revealed at its 94th Telecom Consumer Parliament in Lagos that failed electronic recharges are now the second most reported issue after poor network quality. From Lagos to Kano, users continue to lament deductions without corresponding value as banks and telecom operators shift responsibility. With over 171 million telecom subscribers in Nigeria, most of them on prepaid plans, even a small percentage of failed transactions amounts to massive collective loss. The CBN Director of Consumer Protection and Financial Inclusion, Dr. Aisha Isa Olatinwo, stressed that consumer protection is industry protection, insisting that customers must receive value or immediate refunds for failed transactions. In response, the NCC and the CBN have launched a joint regulatory effort to tackle the issue through new frameworks that enforces accountability across banks, payment aggregations, and mobile network operators. And the story goes on and on and on. Olumide.
Over 171 million mobile users in Nigeria, and mostly on prepaid. And failed airtime is now the second reported complaint. It touches home, it touches everyone. And it's so amazing that when you want to get some particular service, your money is first deducted. Whether you get that service or not,
yes,
your money is deducted. The bank deducts your money. Remember there was this clash between telecoms and banks.
And the banks, yeah.
And they had to settle it. Okay, bank, do your own. Telecom, do your own. Even as at that, even with the banks now taking it directly, anything, they first remove your money. And to get that money back, I'm sure off camera, I've discussed so many times of how I let 2,000 naira, 3,000 naira, because I cannot walk into the bank and start shouting and raising doors because of 2,000 naira. Some people, it might be their last available account balance.
Okay.
But for me, I just let it slide. But sometimes when it gets to my head, when it becomes too much, I just storm the bank and I start to complain that why is this. And they will tell you it takes 4 working days, business days, 4 business days or 3 business days. I mean, we should get to an era where we should be having auto reversal. Some banks do it. Auto reversal,
Yes.
some banks do it. So now the first joint framework they should do now is install some form of software that traces the money. Whether the money has left your account or the money has gotten to the service provider, that should be first determined. So that in meting out punishment, fines, you know who to find. Because several times I've had to go on social media to call different service providers out, and then I find out that it's not even the service provider, it's someone else, or maybe it's not even the bank, it's the service provider. So for clarifications, I think that needs to be put in place. Also, there should be some form of law, maybe not law, but some form of rule under 24 hours maximum. Airtime is not refunded, data is not refunded, and daytime is not given, airtime is not loaded. There should be a refund, 24 hours.
Okay.
And it should come with an apology.
You should come with an apology.
Yes,
Okay.
because it is liable
It's an
for
inconvenience.
Yes, it's because in Nigeria we let things like abroad in Western world you could get sued for that. The person can tell you that you caused him so much damage. He wanted to close a transaction. He needed data to transact, and you have cost him millions of naira. You have, we just jokingly say these things, but it's really, really serious. And so I'm glad that this is coming to the fore. I'm glad that they are now taking steps forward to see how they can rectify it, because we really need to rectify it. And it's not just, I think most of the time when they give these telecoms, it's not today they've been giving them fines of 1 billion naira, and it's like they just pay this money, and it's like they even have it
Start somewhere.
That, okay, for this year, this is the amount of fine we are going to pay. I think it should go beyond fines. Maybe when you start to suspend their licenses, they would, when it gets to a particular level of complaint and you suspend their license, I think they will sit up.
Okay. Now, so let's look at it from this perspective. The Nigerian Communications Commission, the NCC, and the Central Bank of Nigeria, they are joining hands. So is either the telecom is at fault, or the bank is at fault. So if the bank is at fault, the CBN takes care of that. If the telecom organization is at fault, no, the NCC takes care of that. But on how to determine where the money actually ended up and you did not get your service is what needs to be determined. And I'm sure the CBN and the NCC have the required technology to be able to decipher that. So let me come to Benga. Benga, have you tried loading your phone or buying data, and after paying for 24 hours or maybe forever, you didn't get the services of what you paid for?
Well, it has not happened to me personally in a long time that I can remember, in all fairness. What has happened to me is when you buy plenty data, and then, say for example, I buy 75 gig of data, and yet I cannot use it till it expires. That is what has happened to me on regular basis. Even just last Saturday, there is this news channel that I speak on in India, and they tried all they could to get across to me, and I tried all I could to get across to them and join the program. But unfortunately, it was impossible. Despite I had to even subscribe quickly to my second network, because I usually subscribe on my MTN because Glo has shown me shaggy. I had to quickly subscribe to Glo again to buy data. But despite having data, I still could not connect to the show. That's the challenge that I faced. But I think these frameworks that they are doing will be helpful, not just to the banks and the telecommunication company, but to the general outlook of the country as a whole. because it is not just the 171 million mobile phone subscriber that we have that this thing is affecting. You need to think in terms of the other maybe 1 point something billion worldwide that those 171 million people are trying to communicate with. And those communication results in national growth, in income into the economy, and several other good things like that. And this is why it is important to address this issue in time, because the difference between life and death could be in that data or that recharge card that did not pull
Very
through
true.
on time. Somebody wants to call fire service, for example, and you loaded airtime and you are not getting it immediately. You have to wait for 24 hours. I mean, the house would have burnt down before your, or maybe there is an emergency, you want to call the ambulance to come and help you out. And that is why it is very important that these things are critically looked into. And don't forget also that because of some of these challenges, it also dampens the enthusiasm of the consumer to buy more of the product offered by the telecom service. And that is why I wonder. I mean, if you check the statistics put out recently, I think about 2, 3 weeks ago, it shows to you that some of the leaders in number of internet subscriber in Nigeria about 2 years ago are now nowhere to be found. And these are people who have submarine cables connecting to Europe. These are people who have spent a lot of money on infrastructures to make sure that their telecom company is the best. But you buy data from them and you will not be able to use. So people will be like, why would I buy the data? And foreign competitions are now coming in the form of Starlink and others like that. And if that is giving them what they want without trouble, I mean, in my house, in my friend's house, and in my uncle's house, over the last 5 days that I visited those places, all their internet, their broadband internet cable that they use to watch TV at home is not working. And I'm wondering, and they are using different networks, so it's not like just one network. I don't want to be mentioning the various networks, but they are using different I'm also using different networks. But you are not able to watch TV, you are not able to connect, despite having unlimited recharge on your account. And that is why all of this needs to be nipped in the bud so that we can continually create good image for the country on all forms, and then increase investors' confidence that we can actually get things right.
Okay, thank you very much. Benga mentioned, he said it could be a matter of life and death. And that data or that airtime that you have at that moment could just be the lifesaver. But I dare say,
lifeline.
you could be, the lifeline. You could be transacting business at that point in time that's worth millions of naira, and probably that's, you just hit that specific contract. And whilst you're doing that, is it the network failure or something, and you're stuck, and before you know it, the sender is, say, the money sent successfully, and the receiver is telling you, I didn't see it, it didn't come to my account, and before you know it, valuable time you did not plan for, is lost, and you start exerting it by going to the bank, and they're telling you 7 working days, 2 working days, and those working days, they needed to see the receipt so they can append their signature for you to get your procured materials to execute your contract. There are so many things.
Yes.
So, Swift.
So what I see the marriage between NCC and CBN as a necessity at this point, because Nigerians are really suffering. Over the weekend, the network was really bad. I went for an event, I was emceeing, and I wanted to leave by 10. I noticed that all the all the cab drivers I was ordering, they were rejecting me because I didn't want to drive. And I kept wondering, why are they rejecting me? Eventually, a friend that was sitting, I said, please kindly help me, you know. He too was having the same issue. I said, well, we have to get out of here. And so someone was driving. We said, oh, maybe we'll take a bus. By the time we got to Joylegba, because there was a Surulere, the cab called us that he's there and he's a network issue. So you can imagine how much money, I'm just giving an instance, your regular cab drivers lost. It was a Saturday evening, that's Saturday night when people are coming from parties, people are going and everybody was complaining. I've been trying to order online, there was a far cry. In fact, there are some people that, you know, they have already paid for the month for for some of these cabbies. They were already debited. Now you can imagine the drama it takes you 5 working days, 21 working days, 7 working days. And so NCC and CBN are talking about stiff penalties, which is critical at this time. Because if there are no penalties, these people will continue. The network service they have been running since 2003, 2004 or more. And till now, if you have not been able to get your act together, then that is not my fault. And talking about data, there's this particular thing I do over the weekend where they give you 2.5 gig. Now, I barely used it over the weekend because I was using something else. Do you know that as soon as it hit 11 o'clock, the network just sent me 75% of your data gone? We all started laughing because when I loaded, my friend brought his own modem. I was like, look, it's unlimited. And in 2 days it expires. So everybody, let's use this
so
one.
You didn't even touch
so I didn't touch that one. And I cracked that joke that make una just the watch. And at 11, they just sent that message. And I laughed. Now, at this point, you know, there was a time when network providers, we used to load 1,005 every week. If not, your line will be blocked and taken away when the SIM card just came. Thank God for Glo that came in. I always say this. And then people in America and Europe used to tell us that, no, if you load 1.5 or you buy data, it's not monthly, it's not weekly, it's a rollover. If you don't use it this month, it's rolled over to next month. If you don't use it next month, it's rolled over. That it keeps getting rolled over until maybe it's locked. Then you now have to purchase again to unlock what you have not used. It was like frame trick in our eyes. But now look at it. You buy data, maybe you buy for a month. Even if you don't touch that data, by the time it's getting to the end, they send you a message
has been used.
The way they send it.
95% has been exhausted.
And so customer protection, we are not seeing customer protection for us, and it becomes a challenge. Also, the ILFM gives out free airtime. And so I noticed throughout last week I was struggling. Like I would do this airtime, I would be debited. And then people would send messages that, Sugar Mommy, I've not seen. And so I had to be telling people, okay, send me your account number. Let me forward what is supposed to be airtime to you, which is an extra service to me. Now, I've calculated all those airtime. I've not been refunded because I'm looking at my bank like this. I'm getting angry already. And they're telling me 7 working days.
Great.
So it's important that NCC and CBN, in fact, they should not just have this marriage. They need to do it as quickly as possible.
Okay.
I've deducted 1,000 naira airtime. In 24 hours, I don't see it back, or in 12 hours, the bank should pay me 2,000 naira back.
Great.
I think the issue of this 3 to 5 working days needs to be
Yes.
addressed. Is it that
24 hours, right?
yes? Is it that the so-called whatever
Tech people.
the computer takes 7 working days to travel to wherever the money is to locate the money and bring the money back? Because this whole thing behind 5 business days or 4 working days seems a bit far too much.
All right. So I think Benga actually wanted to say something. So Benga, yes.
I said that issue of 8 to 5 days has been addressed by the government. We spoke about it about 2 weeks ago on this same show, where was it the NCC or someone gave the order that all transaction issues should be resolved within 48 hours. It did not even say 48 hours working day. It says within 48 hours, all
yes, I remember.
Transaction issues, we treated the topic. So that has been addressed by the government.
Yes.
It's just further to address other aspects of those same issues.
Yes, thank you very much, Benga.
But
I
Benga,
remember
that one is
myself,
on paper now.
myself,
Is it still?
Olumide and Benga, we had that conversation. I remember. Yes,
That's
Swift.
what I'm saying. What is
we
on
need to go on a
paper?
break.
It's on paper, I know. Physically now, I told you of my story. I'm still told, relax. My money has not been refunded. This happened last
Maybe you
week.
should send CBN a mail.
Why must I keep doing your work
Yes,
for you?
but CBN is there. They have, like you use the word, they have a marriage with NCC. So you should, while sending CBN a message,
You also send
you
NCC.
copy the
Yes.
NCC.
The partner.
Yes. And besides, Swift mentioned the ILFM 95.
What the station can quickly do for her is
Okay.
what the station can quickly do for her is to cut this part of the show where her complaint is, and then tag CBN, tag all those banks after the show on the social media of the station. They will listen.
Great, thank you. Our social media team actually heard you, and I'm sure they are going to do that. Now, the ILFM is 95.9, and it is the radio station of SOUQ, of our television station. So if you're watching us, you might equally want to tune in every morning, 95.9 FM on the IL radio. We're going to break. When we return, the SOUQ Business Landscape continues. Do stay with us.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If we say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is SOUQ Business Landscape.
The Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Imamotimi Agama, has praised Nigeria's removal from the Financial Action Task Force, the Task Force Grey List, describing it as a clear signal of the country's renewed commitment to financial transparency and reform. The Financial Action Task Force, the global body overseeing anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing, announced Nigeria's delisting on Friday, which is last week, after 2 years of monitoring due to identified weaknesses in its financial system. Speaking on a television program, Agama said that the development represents a major turning point for Nigeria's capital market. He noted that improved regulatory standards and compliance would restore investor trust and attract greater foreign capital inflows into the country. Now, Oluwabenga, when I saw the story, it was one, good. Two, I like the fact that it's going to, promote investor confidence and attract investors into Nigeria, to make them have a different thought about Nigeria, to make them see that at least some things are working in some places and we are seeing the result, not only in Nigeria, but from a multilateral body, a multilateral organization that is saddled with the responsibility of looking at nations on their financial dealings with regards to money laundering, corruption, and the likes. But I am not, just singing the praise of the country. I know that we are not there yet, but at least we are making some progress. What's your take on this?
No, we are not just making some progress. We are making a lot of progress.
Great.
A lot of people are yet to say it because it is yet to cascade down to the general masses. But out there, if you follow what the international body language towards Nigeria is now, you will give kudos to the leadership and the presidency right now. They may not get it perfectly well, pleasing to everybody yet. I have my own reservation. Everybody has their own reservation. But the fact is that they have done a whole lot of uh, swamp draining to ensure that we get it right. I mean, you read just now that they started monitoring us for the last 2 years. And if you
Yes.
put the timeline in perspective, it was when this administration came into office that they started re-monitoring us. So, which means they must have given up hope on the last administration and they left it be. So when this new guy came into office, they felt, okay, let's watch him for a while. And after watching all the reform, after watching all the efforts, sorry for my age factor, they are able to come to conclusion that now we are getting it right. And what that signals is that other countries who were afraid to invest in Nigeria before so that they won't run foul of their country's law, other companies that they won't run foul of their country's law because of this challenge with the issue of money laundering, terrorism funding. I mean, you saw when these guys, forgotten their name, the cryptocurrency guy that were arrested in Nigeria,
Binance,
was it
Binance,
last year?
CZ,
Yes,
Binance.
those Binance guys. Yes, and it was one of the things they said about them was issue of terrorism funding and money laundering. Now, even though I did not like the way that matter went that time because we went ultra viral of the law to be able, in fact, that singular incident will scare more investors than encourage. But the fact is that all this effort eventually adds up. The end eventually justifies the means, and that is why we are getting up the grade list of FATF and a lot of other black books that were in this administration effort is paying up and taking us off many of them. Some has been announced already. Will be announced shortly, either before the year ends or before this first time of the administration runs out. So it shows to you that yes, it may not have cascaded down to the masses, but this administration is doing a fantastic job in financial reforms in the country.
Yes, this administration is doing fantastic job in financial reforms. That's Benga's words. Yes.
Okay, so like everybody knows, it's critical at this point in time that we need to start paying more attention to the financial task force, and we need to know where the gray areas, where the problems are, so that they can be curbed. We are looking at the fact that a lot of companies are now paying tax. Our federal government can sit back and say, this is the amount of money that we made from taxation, which is a lot. And we know that next year, people have already claimed that that figure is going to triple because a lot of the big businesses have been avoiding tax payment. Now, because of the transparency issues, this will no more be an issue. First, like Benga said, investors' confidence is critical, and this signals to investors that, look, Nigeria is no more that corrupt nation. If you put in 1 million naira, if your profit is 5 million naira, you don't have to go through the back door or whatever. And so people are excited about that. The next thing which is important is enhanced capital market activity. The capital market activity is going to increase because more people are going to want to invest in your country. And this is what we have been waiting for Nigeria. We are seeing it in the stock market. We are seeing it in a lot of companies coming in to say, look, we want to do manufacturing, we want to do big projects for us. And of course, finally, which is the one that I'm coming for, is my fear of compliance issue. The money that banks and other firms are going to spend to remain compliant is a lot of money, and those monies to me can be put into other things. So I think the federal government needs to see as much as possible to reduce the costing for compliance, because in Nigeria, compliance takes time before the bills are passed. There's a lot of bottleneck. Except it's not civil service still going to do this, because all these things take a lot of time. So we are hoping that the compliance will be at a fast pace, because it's good. It's a good innovation. It's important. It's critical. The financial standing of this government and this era has been beautiful. Corporate, civil, entrepreneurs, everybody is commending the government that, oh, this is good. But the compliance things, the amount people still need to pay to register so that your firms can be checked and your books is quite expensive.
Great.
So we hope that, something will be done about that and everything will fly.
All right. Whilst Benga was, giving his own perspective of the program, he made reference to Binance. And we're not talking about Binance, but our next story is based on cryptocurrency. And I think you should listen. The Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has expressed concern over Nigerians' growing preference for cryptocurrency trading instead of investing in the traditional capital market. The Director General of the Commission, Imamotimi Agama, revealed that more than $50 billion worth of cryptocurrency transactions passed through Nigeria between July 2023 and June 2024, showing a high level of investor sophistication and risk appetite not reflected in the formal investment space. He said fewer than 4% of Nigerian adults currently invest in the capital market. Maybe that's why there's a lot of money in there. Agama described the low participation rate as a major obstacle to national economic growth and capital formation. He noted that while less than 3 million Nigerians invest in securities, over 16 million engage in daily gambling valued at about $5.5 million. Comparing Nigeria's market capitalization to GDP ratio of 30%, with South Africa's to 320%, Malaysia's 123%, and India's 92%. He called for stronger reforms, wider financial inclusion, and trust-building strategies to attract retail investors and strengthen the country's long-term economic development. Yes, Oluwabenga, this outcry is coming from the man at the helm of Affairs and Securities and Exchange Commission, Imamotimi Agama, and in raising his voice, I can see the frustration. I can see the frustration. I know Benga is going to join us.
Why is he frustrated?
I can see the frustration. I will not call it frustration per se, but he's decrying the. Do you know what it means, Swift? It means he made mention that $50 billion were transacted in the mid of 2023, June to the mid of 2024, July. $50 billion in cryptocurrency alone. Is it about 60 million? Is it about 60 million or million Nigerians are in there practicing, investing, and because it's equally a volatile space.
That's why.
And they can lose their money.
They don't
and
care.
the way of regulation is not as tight or secured the way you have in the conventional investment system of the capital market in Nigeria. Securities and Exchange Commission, it's about less than 3 million Nigerians are in that space. But he also mentioned in another space also, more than 5 million Nigerians. More than $5 million he's talking about other investments. He called it the gambling space, and that had to do with the sports bet, I think. Sports betting apps and the games. These are three different areas, but most people do not have trust for the one that is even more secured.
Because the one that is more secured, there was a time that...
Not that they don't have trust, they've not developed that trust.
It's not the development. There was a time that the banking sector was coming real hard on people. You have a certain amount and you go there to withdraw your money, you are arrested, all that. As much as it was good because they were afraid of fraud, people were warning them that, look, you need to be very careful because a lot of young people will lose investors' confidence. So the average 20, 30-year-old below young man who is into tech, who is a content creator and is paid in dollars, he would rather put his money into crypto because he knows that he's not going to be arrested. And it is so bad that when the bank even calls you in that, please come for a conversation with us. When you get there, there are EFCC officials waiting for you to take you. And so people, once they say come for a conversation with us, people now know that you need to get a lawyer to go for your own money. You now need to prove, and they'll be telling you, this money, and you have to. I had a friend that it was so bad, like he had his let me use the word YouTube and other service providers that paid him because he earns a lot from TikTok, and he said he had to be reporting to EFCC office for 2 weeks. And so somebody told him, why are you stressing yourself? There's crypto now. You can use crypto to book your airline flight. You can use crypto to travel. You can use crypto to do this. And of course, looking at the fact that the new president...
It's almost untraceable.
Bam! Now, President Donald Trump's son now has his own crypto currency, which in quotes is deemed very safe, which a lot of young people have put in money. So when I'm getting harassed for my own money, which is what we're wanting, that as much as, yes, we need to calm down the bad boys and all that, we must also put into cognizance that there are a lot of legit young tech boys that are being paid in dollars or girls. And if you keep doing this, you keep arresting them, you keep doing all this, automatically they will lose investor confidence in banks. So most of them, 90% of their monies are no more in the banks. All they put in the bank is money to buy fuel and 1 or 2 things. Every other thing is from crypto. In fact, someone was telling me of an app that he uses to order food via his crypto. So the crypto pays directly to the supermarket.
Here
yes,
in
and the supermarket comes to his house and delivers. He just pays like a 20,000.
So the supermarket also own a crypto account.
There's a way that the crypto, there's a particular, somebody too has decided, no, okay, these people don't want to save in the banks and has created an app or something
platform
that you just, pay to them. They sort the supermarket and the supermarket does a delivery and there's a service charge. So it was like a 5,000, a 10,000, a 20,000 is okay for me with my crypto instead of going to the bank and knowing that I'm going to face arrest or, ESC and, I don't know how clean his money is. So automatically, they have pushed these people to crypto.
But there's also the adage that says he who have clean hands, or he who has no skeleton in his cupboard need not be afraid of anything. So if the law enforcement agencies want to have a brief chat with you, you shouldn't be afraid if your dealings are not influenced by corrupt practices.
This happened to me 4 years ago. A friend of mine was in the UK and his wife was about to give birth. Now, he said he doesn't trust his wife's sisters and all his brothers are abroad. And he just calls me a night before. My wife is going into labor, the hospital, I don't know what was happening, that he wanted to send me about 250K. So I could run to the hospital, make a deposit of about 150K, then get their account number. That's the hospital's account number and details and all that, because he doesn't trust his wife's siblings. And the account number they are giving him for an hospital is a personal account. It doesn't make any sense. And so they transfer to my bank. Now, this particular bank, money like that has hit my account before. It was not a one-off. But guess what? As I got to the ATM to try and withdraw something, I noticed that my account was locked. But I was in a hurry because I had another account.
For you made 250,000 naira?
So I quickly rushed to the hospital. I tried to transfer. My account was locked. I had to use my own money. I said, no problem, I'll sort it. And I sorted that. I got the hospital's account details, and I sent to him, and hey, this is the hospital name is here, and we started laughing. I said, how much did they want to eat from you? Let's say the whole fee was 600, they had said it was 750, they wanted to chop 150, so we laughed and joked. I now had to go back to my bank, because by the time I was done with the hospital, it was around 5, 6 in the evening. It was the next day I had to go back to my bank. I spent almost an hour there, proving, you understand. They said, I had to fill another form, my account. And I was like, does this even make sense to you people? So this is what I went through personally. Now you can imagine somebody that is being paid 30 million naira for content, or 15 million naira. Mine was just 250. Now somebody with 30 million. Right. So this has pushed people to that space. As for the sporting bet and all that, I am against it. I'm a Christian. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
But of course, I don't have an issue with it anyway, because I have a lot of friends who own sporting bets companies. But we also need to understand that it is also the new trend. A lot of young people, they say football is the only thing that can bring a bank manager and a laborer together. You see them talk about Manchester United, Chelsea, and you are wondering, are both of you on the same category? Sport bets is here, it's going nowhere. And so the federal government, to me, needs to regulate these bodies to start putting their monies into, back to the system, because there's nothing you can do about it. These monies are going to get in there. Hi, Benga, welcome back.
Yes, Benga, welcome back. We are on, so SouqnewsTV Agama, Securities and Exchange Commission, is raising the alarm that most Nigerians do not invest their money in the conventional or the traditional investment platforms like the capital markets. They have chosen the cryptocurrency platforms, and they've also chosen the sports bet activities or companies or apps to put in their money, and they've lost trust for the conventional system that's even more secured. So we're trying to see what are the fears that these young people are entertaining, because if between mid-2023 June to mid-2024 about $50 billion went through the cryptocurrency industry here in Nigeria, I just kind of imagine if we have an additional that sort of money in the Nigerian capital market. What's your take on it?
Benga, are you still there? Hello, Benga.
Okay.
Okay, so I wanted to run through this.
Okay,
yes, I'm with you.
Yes.
Oh, great.
I'm here. The network is just misbehaving. But
Okay.
you see, it is not that they are afraid of anything. It is that the system itself has failed the people over a long period of time. And so you can't be asking people to come and invest their money where there is no assurance or guarantee. Let me give example. Those who cooked book in the Security and Exchange Commission in 2008, and those who were involved in the alleged fraud of 2012, where are they now? They are still the one running things in many high places as it concerns policy in Nigeria. And you see, if you had SOUQ crypto back in 2008, SOUQ crypto back in 2008 is about $2, or it's less than $10 thereabout as of 2008. But today you will be having almost $140 something thousand per crypto, which means you are having over $200,000 with that SOUQ crypto. You see the return on investment.
Oh, so sorry, Oluwagbenga. And we're just rounding up with the program because we needed to make way for John Rogers Chooks to come on and take you on SOUQ polls. And I really wish Agbenga had concluded his thoughts and sign out. But this is what we want to draw the curtain. Okay, so Benga, please kindly round up your perspective so we can sign out.
So I'm saying that the return on investment for those who invest in crypto is higher. And once you have higher appetite for risk, there is higher opportunity for you to make profit and to win at the end of the day. The same thing for the sport betting. If you put the sport betting into perspective, 60 million people playing betting per day. If you put it at 100 naira on the average, even though we know a lot of people play more than that, for 100 naira on the average, that means there is 6 billion naira being generated every day in that sport betting environment. No wonder a lot of new sport betting companies are coming up by day, because there is actually a huge market. And let me tell you something shocking. I know about 10 to 15 people who built their houses from money they made from sports betting. I know about 7 to 8 people who were able to raise funds to travel out of the country and are now doing well in all their various countries of destination because of money for sport betting, But people like us, we are too afraid. We don't have that appetite for risk. So that is why I don't do sport betting. It's not because I am holier than anybody or I want to prove righteousness, but it's just about your appetite for risk, your ability to handle risk, because you can put in a lot of money and everything will go down the drain also.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Benga, for your time with us today. It's been fantastic. Each and every time we need to bring you up here to speak. I'm telling you, you just hit the nail on the head, and it's been fantastic having you today, this morning, on the conversation on SOUQ Business Landscape. Okay. Benga's gone already. So,
Yes,
Swift, it's time for us to go, and it's the right place to tell our viewers to do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at SouqnewsTV. I am Oyin Priye Krumale. Stay tuned. Chooks, John Rogers Chooks, will be right in front of you in a little moment, and is SOUQ Pulse coming up shortly.
All right, so I want to say thank you for following us, thank you for liking, and thank you for commenting. Feel free to tell all your friends and everybody. And of course, thank you again for following. My name is Swift Aderito. If they say you can't do it, you can do it. So push harder. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Idris said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is SOUQ Business Landscape.